My name is Ev, welcome to Buddies in Charge and welcome to Robertstown in County Kildare. A very interesting litter bin. In 1784 the Grand Canal opened to freight and passenger travel, and this town was laid out so it's specifically for the traffic on the canal. Many of the houses that you see have had very little alterations since that time. Obviously some have, but many of them have not, such as these buildings here, which would be original. This was the Grand Hotel, and it was opened in 1801 and it closed in 1849. It has had a number of uses since then, including a barracks and also a museum and gallery. Robertstown has got two long distance walks going through it. The first one being the Grand Canal Way, which goes from Dublin all the way to Shannon Harbour. And the other one is the Barrow Way, and it actually starts here and goes down to St Mullins and Waterford. One is approximately 117 kilometres and the other is 100 kilometres. We're not doing them today. The hotel had over 70 rooms before it declined in the 1840s, and it accommodated up to 100,000 people over 1 year in its heyday. Obviously with the coming of the railways in the mid-19th century, and then also because of the famine, it began to fail. And what they did was they boarded up the windows of the hotel so that they didn't have to pay taxes. We're going to have a walk along the Grand Canal Way, and as we do so we'll try and keep an eye out for all the various different animals that we might find. There is one there already. Hopefully you see him. So along the banks here there are herons, which obviously that is a heron. We also have swans, ducks. There are also in the canal there's pike, barracuda, bream, tench, roach and stickleback. And then looking out for mammals we have pygmy shrew, stoat, fox and otter. So now on we go. Grand Canal Way is mainly on the old towpaths, which this is one of them. When barges were pulled by horses. That is a wetland by the looks of it. But he's off in the distance with the family member. We're just looking at the flora here beside the canal. We're here on Sunday the 19th of July. The last freight traffic here was 1960s, and it was actually a barge of Guinness going down towards Limerick. Now Buddy is back in charge again. So at the moment the canal is used primarily for leisure purposes, but you can also get a tourist barge that leaves Robertstown itself. I will put down the website of that barge in the comments. Seen a dragonfly, far too quick to take a proper image of it. Great habitat here though. But he's just checked out the canal. The terrain varies from grassy tracks like this to the sandy and gravel ones which we've just been on. Every so often we get to see some wildlife. Hopefully we can get him there. Another heron. You can cycle along here, but I think you would need a good mountain bike as opposed to a road bike, because there's plenty of dips and troughs in the pathway. It really is stunning countryside. To protect our waterways, any fish must be returned alive to the water. This original bridge still allows for modern transport. Is named locally as Healy's Bridge. In the 14th century, this land would have been under the control of the Fitzgerald family, because they were the Lords of Allen, and they were descendants from the Knights of Kerry. They would have had a number of fortified dwellings in the locality, one in Kilmeague and the other in Ballyteague. More cyclists disappearing along the towpath. The name Robertstown comes from the Christian names of a lot of the Fitzgerald family, and as they were the main lords of the area, that is why the town is named as it is. There is a holiday village nearby, and that has helped with the village itself, because over the years it has had success with the hotel, the opening of the canal, and after the famine and the closure of the hotel in 1849, the area started to dwindle in prosperity, but now with more modern living, it is coming back into its own right. This is all wild flowers. Every single one of them. The wildlife here is extraordinary, particularly again insects. This year we've had such great weather for the last 6 to 8 weeks. And we have one very large insect who is ruling the roost. And there is the large insect. Well, he's not really. So on we go. Some young stock, enjoying the weather. Is it a moorhen in the reeds? We're coming back now into Robertstown, and we are going to have our picnic, and we're going to sit beside the canal banks. But if you haven't got a picnic with you, there are some very well stocked shops in the little village, and there's also a couple of pubs. There's local amenities. There's a very well equipped and expansive children's playground just on the outskirts of the village, and there are various sports clubs nearby. So this is where we're going to say goodbye. So thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again very soon.